Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Pits of Motor Chaos. It's your host, Dave. I line special guest, the Nitro Surfer, Nitro Funny Car driver, Jeff Diehl. How you doing, Jeff?
Hey man, how's it going?
It's going good here. How are you doing out in Cali?
Man, we're just trying to stay busy. All this COVID stuff really slowed everybody down, but we're just trying to keep our chin up and keep moving forward here, see what happens.
So how was racing for you last year with the COVID?
Oh, it was terrible. I mean, I just parked it because I had some sponsors that were unsure of it, which I was too, and we just decided that, you know, we weren't going to take the chances of getting our crew guys and sick and, you know, it just didn't work for us, so we just parked it for the year. I only went to one race. I had a new car, new trailer, well, two new cars, new trailer, went to Phoenix and kind of tested there and saw signs of it going to run, and that was it, parked.
Wow. So how many events are you going to hit this year?
Well, I was planning on running as much as I could this year, and I was going to run the first 5 races, and they're just kind of with the COVID thing still, it's kind of, they're tentatively scheduled, but they don't know if they're going to be able to run them, so I don't know. I'm going to just, you know, run as much as I can and try to make sense of it right now. We're just going to be super careful, and everybody wants to go racing again on the team and the sponsors, and we'll just go out there and see what we can do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough, man.
It's scary, yeah. It's just so unpredictable, that disease, you know, the virus, and it's just, I don't, you know, scary. It scares us. We stayed close to the shop. I just kind of went into hiding and worked on some old cars and stuff just to try and keep myself pacified. And surfing was out of control that year. Everybody was at the beach, so I didn't do much surfing because it's just no fun to go surf with 100 people in one wave, you know.
So that's how you got the Nitro Surfer name. How you like Nitro Funny Cars and you like the surfboard, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, surfing has been my passion since I've been a kid. I grew up in San Clemente, Southern California, and grew up at the beach, basically, and just, I love the beach. And, I mean, as I'm getting older, it's a little harder to do, but I surf as much as I can.
I'm sure if you could, you would ride a Nitro surfboard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So how did you get into drag racing, Jeff?
My father was into it in the 60s. My dad started he started drag racing in a Cobra, actually, a real Cobra. He had 2 of them. Wow. With another guy, and they drag raced him, and he did really well at Lions Drag Strip in the 60s, and then he switched to top fuel front engine car. You know, a lot of people had them then, and he actually had small block ones and Chevys and stuff when it was kind of more open. You know, and he built beautiful, beautiful race cars, and that's where I get it from. He was at the races, and I always was there with him as a young man, and then seeing all that growing up, you know, I had to kind of see what it was like driving one. You know, I never really thought I'd end up in a fuel car. I always thought those guys were kind of really crazy, and the fires and everything scared me, but I ended up in the professional ranks because it was the only place that I could make sense of trying to get sponsorship to do it, because I'm not a wealthy man. I'm just a normal middle-class person trying to make it.
So what year did you start racing?
I started driving in the 80s. What I did is I built an alcohol rear-engine dragster. I wanted to build a funny car, but my dad said if I built a dragster, because he liked dragsters, he'd split the cost with me, and that was an easy one. Okay, let's go do that. So
yeah.
We built a rear-engine car, and it wasn't really fast enough to run in top alcohol at the time, so I just kind of got my feet wet licensing, and then I messed around with 690 class, and then I messed around with putting on blown gas, and that was dangerous, and went back to alcohol, and then I sold it, and then I actually got a really nice alcohol car, and I ran top alcohol for a couple years, and then I was watching the Nitro funny car stuff, and I saw that the qualifying was $10,000, which to me was awesome, and to qualify an alcohol car was only $750. And I'm like, well, that's dumb, you know, and I went to like 12 events, and I'm like, there wasn't even 16 funny cars at the time, and I knew nothing about a nitro car, so I went ahead and sold the dragster and bought a funny car, and then what did I do? I don't know. I didn't do it for a while. I ended up getting a ride with another guy. I drove for a guy named Jim Cullen in Texas in a front-engine top fuel car, and that was when I got my feet wet with nitro, and that's what really started the passion for it.
So when you drove the alcohol dragster, how'd you do in the dragster?
I mean, it was a big learning curve. You know, I had Spike Gore help me tune it, and we ran hard, but I just didn't have the parts. You know, I didn't have any money. I lived at the beach, and I came in flip-flops to the deal, you know, so we struggled. I mean, it ran good. You know, the biggest frustrating thing was the year that I kind of got it together and the car would run with everybody else. They went from 16 car shows to 8 car shows because they didn't feel they had enough cars to make it work, and I was like number 9 qualifier that year at every race, 12 events I didn't race, and it made me mad, so I sold it.
So how was your first time experience going down a drag race track in the dragster?
In a front engine one?
Yeah.
It was pretty overwhelming. You know, I went to a little track in Texas, and it's called Kennedale, and it has grass in between the guardrail and the track, and I was a little bit nervy, but the minute I hit the gas, I was like, yeah, wow, this is where I like to sit, behind the motor, you know, and it was, from then on, it was just, yeah, give it to me.
So how was your first time experience driving a fuel funny car?
Yeah, it kind of went in succession, so what I did is I drove for that gentleman in Texas in his front engine car, so I was pretty busy, and then I got in an accident in that car. I burned, and it wouldn't shut off, and the Morse cables were bent, and I couldn't get the fuel to shut off, so I flipped it at Indy, and we went our separate ways. We're total buddies, but we just went our separate ways at the time, and so I doubled back to my car, and when I doubled back to my funny car that I bought was sitting in my shop, the qualifying numbers went from 650s to get into like 502s. So I'm like, man, that's pretty stout, you know. So I took my funny car and turned it into a fuel altered, which is totally nuts. I never thought I'd drive one of those either. But I built that thing, and I went and did that first as a fuel altered, and then we put a body on it and went mat racing with a funny car body. So back to your question, my first run in a funny car was that fuel altered with a funny car body on it. And Spike Gore and I were in Tucson, and we thrashed on getting the body mounted last minute to this Cactus Clash in Tucson, Arizona, and we came straight from Boise, Idaho, took the fuel altered body off, barely got the funny car body on. We went to the starting line. It was like 110 degrees out at nighttime, and we started, and Spike looks in the window, and he's all, yeah, shaking his head up and down, and I'm like, no. I go, look, and my arm restraints the parachute levers were on the roof, and we didn't even do a seat in the car test to see, you know. And he looked at me, he's all, what are you going to do? And I'm all, let's just run, because you only get paid if you don't run. So I was pretty nervy, and I went down through there, and I had to undo my seatbelts and get the parachutes out. And first run we went down the track, so it was pretty exciting, to say the least. Wow.
So when you had the fuel altered and put the funny car body, what was that, a nostalgia funny car?
No, it was that the fuel altered was one of those transformer ones. You know, it was the fuel funny car that I had bought to go NHRA racing, and we just put a fuel altered body on it and wings on it. It was called the Witch Doctor, and I've since sold that to a really good friend of mine. He does really well with it. But so it was a state of the art at the time, pretty close to a real nitro funny car. So it wasn't nostalgic. No, it was cannon clutch and big pump, and it was fast.
So did you do any nostalgia drag racing at all?
Well, now I have a sponsor. What turned out a sponsor turned into a really good friend. So I'd say both now, but a friend more than anything. His name's Don Knobloch, and he bought a nostalgia car, and it was some old parts, and we got his license, and then I built him a brand new McKinney nostalgia car, and we just went and ran it last weekend at Bakersfield, and he did really well. We're getting ready to go run Funny Car Chaos because there's not so much. It's a nostalgia legal funny car, but we're going to go run Chaos with it and just get him some laps. So last weekend we went to Bakersfield, and it ran good. We ran some 390s, the half track, and that's just the Chaos is a half track deal, so that's a good starting point.
Yeah, that Chaos is really picking up these days. They get a lot more drivers getting in those events now.
Yeah, there's like 60-something cars at the first one. That's going to be a nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We'll probably see the sunrise as we're running rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of cars.
So who are all your sponsorships?
Well, the one I just, Don Knobloch, he has XL Drywall. He's one of my sponsors. And Redline Oil is a sponsor. And Rat, the band Rat and I do a bunch together. CP Carrillo, Foreman Steel, DJ Safety. It just goes on and on and on.
Has Stephen Pierce, your Rat, ever wanted to drive the funny car?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's an absolute nut for drag racing. That's what he was going to do, but as a young man, he hung around a Nitro car, and he ended up getting in an accident. And as he was recovering from the accident, he started into music because he couldn't get around. So that's what actually started his career in music. So he just, that went really well for him. So he kept going that way. And a couple other sponsors I got is Central Valley Auto House, and I got a paving company in Texas that spells paving company. So we got some pretty good sponsors, and we got some other stuff coming out here. I got a couple things up my sleeve this year, and the first 5 races I had another associate sponsor, but I had to back burner them because I got to make sure I'm at those races,
Right.
And I don't know if they're going to go yet with COVID. Might take a little bit longer with the vaccinating process. So, but we're excited. I got a brand new car. We want to go run this thing.
So who are your crew members that keep this car humming?
Well, I got pretty much the same guys. I got a guy named Joe Hamilton and Dwayne, and I got Bernie. He's my blower guy, and I got Jason and Donnie Knobloch, and my dad helps, and my wife, of course, she helps, and I got Sonny as my bottom end guy. So yeah, we got a bunch of guys. We're ready to go,
So what's been your fastest DT in a Nitro Big Show funny car?
I ran the quickest and fastest run I ran in Seattle. I ran 4:02 at 3:17.
Now with this new car, are you hoping to get faster?
Yeah, I mean, of course I want to run a 3, but I'm stubborn, and everybody wonders why I don't run as fast as everybody else. But I kind of, I get help from a lot of really smart guys, and we'll get it. I just got to be. I don't have a lot of parts to be blowing stuff up to get there, So I got to kind of crawl to get there, We'll get it. I've run a bunch of 4.0s, So.
And
I made some changes this winter to make sure, like the other race car, my old race car I built in a garage, and it was just a copy of a Pluger car, and that was all. It's always a question when guys help you, maybe it's your car, it didn't ET as good down low as other cars, and it's possible, so I went and bought a McKinney car like everybody has out there. They're all pretty much built off of the McKinney chassis, so I got 2 McKinneys, and then I had some other components on the car, which are definitely working components, but they don't have the same parallel numbers that the other guys running different parts have. So I changed all that so I could get a little bit of help there too. So pretty much now I have what everybody has, except the big wallet.
And I see we got Mr. Tony Gerardo coming out in his new Big Show Capital Punishment funny car.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I heard something about that guy. I don't know who he is, but yeah, come on. The water's fine. Come on in.
Yeah, you get a lot of those underdogs out there trying to run with you guys.
Yeah, well, I'm an underdog too. I mean, I'm trying to keep up with those guys, and it's probably the hardest thing I've ever tried to do in my life. So that's what keeps me going, though. You just get up, dust yourself off, and move on to the next problem.
Yeah, I see John Force is coming back this year.
Yeah, he's a good guy, man. He has the same passion that I have, and he's took it all that way, and he really has made it work for himself. And good for him, man. My hat's off to him.
Yeah,
I like racing John.
Yeah, most of the interviews I do, if I ask him who is like one of your biggest influences for drag racing, it's John Force.
Yeah, I don't know. My influence is I just wanted to see what it was like on my own to drive one. Like, I watched them all my life, fuel altered and front engine cars, and I grew up at Lyons Drag Strip in Orange County, and Force, Force kind of had his funny car in a gas station for a while in Mission Viejo, and I used to ride by there on the bus and look and go, it's brute force over there, so yeah, he's part of the passion for sure.
So who else did you look up to?
Oh, I hung out with, my dad was racing, which was kind of cool. I was at the track, so I kind of hung out with Jeff Allen. I made friends with him. He was young, and I followed him around, and I was into Raymond Beetle a lot, and just all of the guys, But yeah, they're all cool. Yeah, I kind of hung out with. My dad quit racing in the late '70s, and we kind of hung out with Chuck Diehl with his funny car, so I hung out with him for a bunch of years, and it was cool. I mean, he's passed away since then, which is sad, but I got to drive his fuel funny car early on too, so it's kind of cool.
So your number one influence would probably be your dad, right?
Oh yeah, he's the one who kept taking me to the races, Like, I always get mad at him and go, "You're the cause of all this. If you would have just let me stay at the beach, I'd be in Tahiti. I wouldn't be worried about drums and nitro." And he just laughs. But yeah, he's the number one influence.
Yeah, like me, I'm a big fan of drag racing because of my dad when he started dragging me to the track when I was like 4 or 5 years old. Now I'm 52 and 52 years old now, and now I'm doing interviews trying to support drag racing. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I got real early pictures. My mom said she took me to Lyons Drag Strip, and I was 2 weeks old, and she said no crying, awake all night long, smiling, so that was the start of it right there.
So how'd you like smelling your first whiff of nitro?
Oh, I mean, as a kid, it's funny, I mean, all I can say is I raised a kid, and he's 32 years old. His name's Trevor. And I just kept going with him, like I was a single father at the time, and I was raising him, and I'm like, well, I'm going drag racing, so he'd go with me, and it was just funny to watch him smell nitro. He's like, I hate it, but he'd always run over there and smell it, and I'm like, oh yeah, you hate it, all right. That's pretty comical.
Get the eyes all teared up.
Oh yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I try not to smell that stuff now, though. It's not good for you.
Yeah. So, you have any favorite tracks to race on?
I mean, as I get older, my favorite tracks are closer to home because I hate traveling. I'm sitting here. I've been talking to my wife all day, like going, "Oh my God, the first race is 3,000 miles one way," and I'm almost ready to load the thing, and I haven't made a decision yet. I've made plans to be there, so yeah, I don't know. I want to go. If it was 1,500 miles, I wouldn't even be having this conversation about it, but 3,000 miles one way. Oh my God. Too far.
So are there any pros and cons in drag racing?
I mean, I always tell people be careful what they wish for with this deal, but just wish for it in the right text. I wish I would have wished to be a sponsored Top Fuel driver, in my life. But, this way, my biggest struggle is funding. And I'm a pretty nice guy. I don't see why I don't get a big deal, but I get close on them, and I just haven't got one yet. And that's the biggest struggle for us is I know how to do it, and I know I could do well if I just had the proper funding. I'm always massaging parts and, so.
Now, when you get out there in the staging lanes, Jeff, do you have any pre-race rituals or superstitions at all?
Nah, I'm not superstitious at all. I kind of trip out on that. I mean, it's weird. I surf a lot. I surf some pretty heavy water conditions over my life, and I'm not superstitious. It's all about. I don't put one glove on first or the other glove on. You know what I mean? I don't get in. I don't do it. I don't tap my feet 3 times or anything. And some people do, and I'm not saying that's bad or anything, but I just don't. I know what I'm up against, and I just try to be super, super coherent to that and roll with it.
Now, does it take a lot of preparation to get that Nitro car ready for a weekend of drag racing?
Yeah, I mean, it's a labor of love, right? Those things, it's just sometimes if you analyze it, you probably would quit, but it's all work, and the thing runs for barely 2 minutes a run, and that's burnout back on all the stuff, but, I don't know. What's funny is this year off, you kind of start questioning, like, maybe I love racing, but the workload is unbelievable. The road time is unbelievable, and then all it takes is when I went last weekend and tested that nostalgia car at the races, and to see that run got me going pretty good. But Del Worsham was there testing with Jeff Loren driving Alexis's car, and went up there and made a lap. And the minute he stood on the gas, I looked over at my wife and went, "That's why we spend all our money drag racing." She's like, "Yep, I'm in. Let's do it." So yeah, it's pretty comical.
Now, where do you get all your fire safety equipment from?
Well, I run the Simpson fire suits. I've been with them forever, and helmets, and then the rest of it's all DJ safety. Those guys really take care of me with the fire bottles and the parachutes and all the all the other stuff, and then I have TAK and Nitro, so I have all that. I try to give to everybody. Everybody's trying to make it out there.
Yeah, a lot of guys love Big Ben over there, DJ Safety.
Oh, yeah, he's super cool, man. That guy takes care of me when I need something, it's here.
Yep. So have you had any accidents or close calls in your drag racing career?
Yeah, I've crashed a couple times, and they are what they are, The first time I crashed in a funny car, I thought it was over, but it turns out the safety equipment and all the years that NHRA has put in to make these cars safe, it made me feel actually safer. And then I had a really bad crash at Vegas at Throttle. Well, the first panel came out of the body, and that flew back into the injector and hung the throttle wide open, and it was shaking, and so I couldn't really get it turned off because I had both hands on the steering wheel because it was sideways, and I hit the wall, half track, full throttle, and that was quite a ride. But once again, the safety equipment did its job,
Yeah. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty safe. I feel pretty safe in them. Safer than I do going down the freeway with a bunch of people driving all around me.
Yeah, you see so many videos of these big accidents these days, and you see the driver jump right out of the car and walk away from it.
Yeah. I got in a pretty nasty one in the front engine car, too. It wouldn't stop running at Indy, and I went end over end at Indy, and I just got burned on that one. But, yeah, I didn't get hurt. So, yeah, safety's cool with these things. I never really fight NHRA on that stuff. That'd be dumb.
So what have been your milestones of your drag racing career, Jeff?
That fuel altered that I put together with Spike Gore, we went to Boise, Idaho, and that's a big deal. That was all the transformers, and the cars were 270 mile an hour, low 5-second fuel altered, and we went there the first year and won it right out of the box, and that was like my first real big win, and that was pretty neat. And then we won a couple more times with that thing, and then I won a couple races in the Nostalgia Top Fuel thing, and that was really a good time for me, the Nostalgia Top Fuel. And if I really, would ever fall back on something, that's what I'd probably go do. And because the horsepower to tire size, those things are evil. They're all over the place, and they're pretty tricky to drive, and you can't see in them, And then the funny car thing, I switched to professional funny car in IHRA and the Evan Knoll Torco series, and we won Budge Creek, so that was definitely a high point for us. And then just, getting, trying to get it done, I've been to the semis a few times at NHRA, and I've laid down a few numbers here and there, and sometimes, that first round's lucky, but I just like to back it up. And, like my quickest time ever, 4:02, was it was in the second round against Cruz Pentragon, and it hauled ass, and Cruz is cool, and he's a good dude with racing-wise, he's been there for a long time, and pretty awesome to beat him, lay it down,
So he's still waiting for that first Wally, huh?
Yeah. We're trying, It's just, I got to get the car more consistent, and I think we'd be, it's just hard to get past first round. First round's a weird time for guys with lesser budgets because the track is cool, and the bigger teams can let it go, and we can't really, So, but then after, like, if you get in the second round, and then it starts heating up in the summer, then it's kind of anybody's race, and you just got to kind of keep it together. So, and we're setting up better to be prepared to do it, is what I can tell you.
Now, have you ever raced in the March meet?
Yeah, I actually, I've raced in the March meet. I won the Hot Rod Reunion in an injected a Nitro front engine top fuel car, and then I gave that ride to another guy, and he won. I gave my March meet win up. He won the March meet in that same car the next year, which is cool, man. He's a cool dude. But I've been to the March meet a bunch of times in the Nostalgia Top Fuel, but I don't know what my best finish was. I
think this year it's the May meet, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the May meet. Yeah. I mean, if it was the May meet and I was driving and they held the race on Monday because it rained, I'd probably win it for sure.
All right, so you ready for a few fun questions here, Jeff?
Sure.
Outside of drag racing, I know you surf, but any other hobbies besides surfboarding?
Oh, yeah, I build hot rods. I'm building a 49 Woody right now.
Nice. All right, so
I have a passion for building cars.
You don't go fishing or nothing?
I mean, I do. When we're in Mexico, I fish, and then when I'm on the road racing in between races, I have fishing poles. They see me all the time with the golf cart going off to go fish in some fishing hole behind the track.
Now, if you could hit a time travel machine and go backwards in the time, would you do anything differently with your drag racing career?
Yeah, I would have probably done it a little sooner. I would have just pursued it a little bit earlier in life. That's all.
Now, if you and the wife have time to go on a vacation, what's your ideal vacation getaway?
Well, we go to Mexico a lot, and that's probably where we're going to try and retire. But lately, I've been going to the North Shore in Hawaii. I got some friends there, and so that's kind of our deal. All around the ocean, we love the ocean.
Now, you do deep sea fishing?
Yeah, I've done that a lot in Cabo, tuna fishing, and a little bit here in Monterey Bay. Like right when I was building my race car, and then my first one, I commercial fished here in Monterey Bay with a surfer friend of mine, and we did it so we could surf every day. And we found out that you don't want to surf much after you go out at 4 in the morning and go catch fish and then clean them all and then take them to all the little hole in the wall food places in Monterey and PG. By the end of the year, that's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The winds already came up, but we did it for a while.
Now, have you ever done marlin fishing or sail fin fishing?
No, I haven't.
Shark?
No, I don't mess with sharks. I just try to leave them alone. Hope they leave me alone. I swim with them all the time, so I'm not. I don't eat shark, and I hope they don't eat me.
All right. So, what is your favorite food you like to eat?
Oh, we love Mexican food, so we have fish tacos and stuff like that all the time. We eat a lot of fish. We live right on the ocean.
Is the wife good cook?
Oh yeah.
So what's your favorite dish that she makes?
Oh, I mean, yeah, with fish, we eat a lot of fish, so we make our own sushi and so anything with fish in it, halibut, fish tacos, and stuff like that.
Now, how about you? Do you cook?
Yeah, I love to cook.
So what do you consider your best dish to cook?
About the same stuff. My wife, the one thing a little different. My wife makes a lot of pasta because she's got some Italian in her blood, so she makes a lot of pasta. But yeah, we eat a lot of seafood.
All right, what's your favorite beverage? Alcoholic and non-alcoholic?
Well, I like Mexican beer and tequila. And then I drink a lot of water. I don't drink soda and stuff. I'm not into it.
So when you're at the track on a race day, Jeff, how's your eating habits? Do you eat lightly during the race day and wait till the races are done, or do you eat normally during the day during the race day?
I'm pretty normal. I mean, I eat breakfast and I don't eat much lunch, so I'll eat breakfast before we race, and it's fine. I'm not a very nervy driver, so I'm not all butterflies in the morning. I just got too much going on, I've been working on the engine on the car and trying to help tune it and oversee everything, so I don't really have time to be weird about eating. I just eat when I'm hungry.
Do you guys ever barbecue at the track?
Oh yeah, my wife, she cooks. We cook for all of our crews, so she cooks every day. They cook sometimes they do breakfast, and most of the time it's like lunch or late lunch because of the way the schedule works, and then we cook dinner at the track.
So what's your favorite style of music to listen to?
Oh, I don't know. I like a lot of stuff. I like reggae. I like it all. I just can't stand country music, but anything but that, I'm good.
So you like a lot of the 80s hard rock bands? Like you like Rats? I know you like Rat.
Oh yeah, Stephen Pearson and I are buddies, and yeah, we were. Last year we had Rat and I were gonna do a deal, and he was gonna do the worldwide tour, and a lot of them were correlating with drag racing, and we were actually going to put the car up on stage at one of the shows and light it off, and Rat's definitely part of our life. We're trying to figure out what we're going to do this year with that.
So how many years have you known Rat?
Well, I've known Steven for probably 10 years or something. We did something like probably 10 years ago, and we just became friends.
Yeah, that was pretty sad when Robin Crosby passed away.
Yeah, that was Steven's buddy,
Yep.
I think I met him. I might have met him at one race, but I didn't really get to know him.
Yeah, I got to see Rat when they first came out, back when Out of the Cellar came out at a little nightclub in Chicago. So hardly anyone there because they weren't that big back then.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool when you see bands like that. I saw a Rat, and I had a roommate, and I was kind of a punk rocker in the early '80s, and I had a roommate that was a total hard rock, 80s rock guy, and he had tickets to Rat at San Diego Stadium, and I think it was the first time they played there, and that place was packed, man. And I was like, my first thing was Rat. I was like, oh my God, this place is crazy, people everywhere.
Yeah. So, what is your biggest pet peeve in life? You have one?
guess I don't. I have a lot of pet peeves about weird little stupid little stuff, but that's my own problems.
Now, you a dog person or a cat person?
I'm a parrot. I'm a bird guy. I've had birds all my life, macaws and parrots and stuff. And this last bird I have here is, I've had her for longer than I had my son. I've had her for like 34 years, and my son's like 32 years old.
Wow. It's a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's only halfway through. They live like 65 years, you know.
Wow.
65, 70 years. She's sitting here with me right now.
Yeah, I just heard the bird.
Yeah, she's sitting there.
So does the bird talk?
Yeah, she says all sorts of stuff.
That's cool. So that's like that's one of your family members.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yep. So when you do get out there this year, what are you looking forward to the most for 2021 racing season?
What am I looking for the most?
Yeah, what are you looking forward to the most?
Just to get back to it. You know, last weekend we've been away for a year, and to go to Bakersfield was kind of like, it was weird for one, because we've been locked up, and we're just like, oh yeah, this is what it's about, and oh yeah, I remember this, I miss this, so I just want to get back to it. And like I said, I'm trying to tighten up my program a little bit, because I feel like I know what I need to do, and I'm just going to try and make the thing run consistent and just pick away at it. Hopefully stay alive, you know?
Yeah, I did see footage from Bakersfield because Joe Waller was going live there.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Joe's cool.
Oh, yeah. You like the Joe Waller band?
Oh, yeah. We try to see him every time in Bakersfield, but I'm always working on a car, and it takes him a while to play. So I guess the Hot Rod reunion or whatever was the last time we saw him, and we saw him play a few songs, but we end up leaving because we can't stay there all night because we're racing.
Right. So, Jeff, you have any final words or shout-outs or any good stuff before we close out?
No, I just want to shout out to all the fans out there and thank them for enjoying racing, because we couldn't do it without them. You know, and we're just looking forward to get back to it, and hopefully the world goes semi-normal again and we get a chance at it. I mean, the little pause in everybody's life has got to make everybody feel a little bit better about what they had, you know. So that's kind of where we're at. We just want to get back to what we had and go chase it some more.
Yep. Well, thanks again for being on air today, Jeff.
All right, no problem.
And I wish you the best of luck with the 2021 drag racing season when you get out there.
Oh, thank you.
And you have a great day.
All right, man. It's great talking to you.
All right. Bye.